saying you are live. There we go. Good evening, Vancouver. And welcome back to Canucks After Dark. Following one of the most bizarre, frustrating, stressful, and frankly unbelievable hockey games that I think either of us have watched in recent memory. And we thought, hey, why not come to you Sunday instead of Monday? Get ahead of it while it's fresh in all of our heads, in all of our hearts. As always, joined by my co-host, Canuck Clay. How are we doing?
Parker, I am great. And you know how much we love to take our viewers behind the curtain a little bit. We're going to be honest with you. We actually had it planned to do the Sunday night show, win or lose, because I think I might be going to the Justin Timberlake concert tomorrow, but I'm actually not sure. So, Parker, that's the part I didn't tell you. But I think this made more sense. It's a game night, win or lose. We would have had a bunch of like a couple hundred really happy people in here, or by the time we're done, a couple hundred really angry people. But I think, thankfully, Parker, we're going to be on the happy side of the spectrum today. That was nuts. That was 3 minutes, 8 seconds, and then 62 seconds. Like, that's unheard of.
Yeah, after an abysmal showing, and it really, like, I was sitting there with Melissa, and we were watching the hockey game, and I sat there and I said, hey, look, normally, and this is probably 2 minutes left. I say, you know what, normally I'd be like, hey, you know, if there's any team that can come back with the goalie pulled, it's probably this one. Yeah, not tonight. Like, it's just,
you weren't feeling it.
It's just the way they were playing. They were abysmal for the they played a good like first 6 minutes of the game, actually the first 5 minutes of the game, because Jankowski scored 5.5 minutes in until that 4-on-4. So the first like 4.5 minutes of the game, the Canucks played okay. The last 4 minutes of the game, they played okay. They played 52 minutes of garbage hockey, frankly.
Kay agrees with you. Jaskrin agrees with you. Everyone agrees with you.
Yeah, the Canucks in no world deserve to win this game. However, I'm very happy they did. And in the interest of transparency, I was thinking during that game, like, do I have to text Clay and say, I just don't want to do this tonight? Because that game was so miserable the entire way through. But Brock Besser pulled it out single-handedly. I will take some credit. After the second period, I put the Brock Besser jersey on, took the Pettersson off, which seemed to have worked. So this jersey is remainder of the playoffs. There's no going back on that. Yeah, it was just a terrible game with a phenomenal finish. And the Canucks are on the brink of moving on to likely face Edmonton in round 2, although I don't know how their game's going on right now. Edmonton's up with 3 minutes to go. Yeah. So we'll keep you posted on that while we're here live.
Wow.
I just want to say, everyone, thank you for jumping in. I know Sunday, it's not our normal day. Obviously, you're potentially away tomorrow. I am away tomorrow anyways, so this is good to get this.
Oh, I didn't even know that. So you let me drop the bomb first. Okay,
yeah.
So this works out well. Okay, good.
I would have made it work on the road. I would have, I'm committed, I thought maybe you would go live from the Justin Timberlake concert, but that's okay.
Yeah, me and JT.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to spend a good chunk of time on this game. Of course, we last talked to you on Monday. Since then, the Canucks lost game 2 by a score of 4-1, which was a bad game for the Canucks. Like a game where they dominated possession-wise, but they just couldn't get pucks through. Nashville played essentially a perfect shutdown hockey game. And then game 3 was the inverse, where the Canucks sort of, allowed Nashville to come alive and press, and the Canucks had 12 shots, and the Canucks held on to win that one 2-1. And come into this game today, 2 p.m. start, with a 2-1 series lead and the chance to essentially not clinch, but like 3-1 series lead most of the time. It's probably like 90-10, I have to imagine. The 3-1 series leader ends up winning it. So the difference in result in this game from being 2-2, having to go back home, guaranteeing a game 6, guaranteeing an extra flight back and forth to Nashville. Like, this is a remarkably huge win for the Vancouver Canucks today.
Yeah. We're feeling it. I know you guys are feeling it. Daniel starts us off by acknowledging his membership for 2 months. So thank you, Daniel. Then Jacob comes in with a $2.79 super chat. Let's roll a goalie every game. Someone hurts Shilovs.
Don't do that. We can just put Talopolo in. We don't have to,
And then thank you, Jacob, for that. And then Adam comes through gifting 5 memberships. So thank you, Adam, for your generosity. We appreciate you. Those go to Louisa, Adam. Wait. It's weird. Adam Lee gifted the donations and Adam Lee got a donation.
I think maybe if you're not a member yourself, you get one.
Oh,
Or maybe it was luck of the draw. Who knows? Thank you very much, Adam.
Yes, and Karan, Last Resort in Jaskin. Welcome to all of you, and thanks to everyone for your generosity. We appreciate you guys being here. It's awesome.
And everyone watching on Twitter, which is over half of you, now that we've decided to actually use that function, which for some reason we never did before. We're also live on YouTube at Canucks After Dark, so you can find us over there. That allows you to like rewind and subscribe, and maybe you get gifted a membership here or there. Anyways, wherever you're watching, we thank you all for joining in.
We do. By the way, you mentioned the Besser. You switched from the Pedersen jersey to the Besser. Do you have any traditions or superstitions, is a better way of putting it, when it comes to hockey?
No, I just usually wear the black Pedersen jersey because it's the nicest looking jersey that I own, frankly. I like every time I go to a game, I even like even game one, which I was lucky enough to go to, I was like, should I wear blue? Like it's the playoffs, game one. I was like, yeah, but the Pedersen jersey is just so nice. And that's what I ended up going with.
Love it.
But Pedersen was pretty bad today, as he frankly has been for a good chunk of the playoffs. Gets an assist on the game winner though, so that's good. But the way Brock Besser was playing, it wasn't as much of a Pedersen's not doing well. It was more of the team's not doing well. I'm a little frustrated. Brock Besser's been playing great. Let's switch to that one. And it was just all vibes at that point.
All vibes. Speaking of vibes, Zhao comes in saying, I'm a member for 3 months. Thank you, Zhao. And then Adam, another 5. Adam's going crazy in a good way. Yeah, I meant that in a good way. So thank you. So Adam has gifted 10. This one's Peter, Salo, Irwin, Raging Fury, and Joshua. So 10 membership gifts from Adam tonight in the span of 7 minutes. I'm impressed.
Thank you. So let's break this game down. And frankly, there's going to be some negativity in the middle of this. However, once, for the past few years when the team's been bad and we knew we were sort of doing that March to April and everything would be over, it was good to focus on process over results sometimes, right? It's like, hey, this team isn't, they aren't the team that, they're not a contender. They're probably not a playoff team. Let's just see the evolution of Quinn Hughes, the evolution of Elias Pettersson, Demko, Besser, even the coming out of JT Miller over the last few years. And we could sort of focus on process over results. Looking at these first 4 games of the series, process-wise, the Canucks were the better team in 2 of the 4 games, I would say. And that's, frankly, against a team like Nashville, which, again, I don't want to do a team like that thing. But, I mean, a team that's, frankly, a wild card team compared to the team that won the Pacific Division, right? The Canucks should be the favorites. They had home ice advantage. Nashville should not be outplaying the Canucks the way that they have been at those times, right? I even tweeted today, I was like, this is so frustrating. I'm confused. Is Nashville just the best defensive team of all time and we didn't know? Because why is this team that outscored 80% of the rest of the NHL this year unable to produce any offense against them? However, and again, I think all the analytics would point to, hey, Nashville's been an equal opponent for the Canucks so far in the playoffs, but playoffs process takes a backseat to results at this point. And I'm looking at this and we could be worried, like, man, the Canucks had 12 shots last game, 18 shots in game 2. They had 20 shots tonight. And, keep in mind, one of those was in OT. So less than 20 shots in the game or in regulation. But my focus now is just get the heck past Nashville and maybe the next team will have some better luck against.
That's a really interesting take because coming into the All-Star break, we knew Parker and we loved it. We were reveling in it every Monday night, just how much the Canucks scored. And then there's all these stories, all these narratives since the All-Star break, how Nashville has actually been one of the higher scoring, more offensive teams. And we were the team that was kind of up and down. We know Nashville went on their 18-game point streak. So then it was weird how, despite how good the Canucks, the firepower, that the story was actually Nashville's offense against our defense. And we know we've been talking about how much we love our defense compared to last season. So part of me is not surprised that these games have been quite stingy when it comes to goals for the most part. But you're right. It's the process or the form. I would have never guessed that they're stingy because one team in game 2 is blocked 30 shots and the other team misses the net another 35 times. And then it gets reversed for game 3. So it's just been a weird series. And I'll say this, I'll throw everything out at once before we actually talk about today's game. I don't know. I think I told you that I love watching the post-game interviews of the other coach, especially when we win. Because I just kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm like a little kid or something. I just like it when they say nice things about our team and blah blah blah. I really like Andrew Burnett. As a I don't know if you heard him. The way he talks, he's so respectful, and not just because of this, but I think him and Tocchet are almost of the same mold. They're those gritty, good offensively, and they get. I think there's a huge level, Parker, of mutual respect between them. So they're always talking up the other team. So all to say this, to land on this point, I actually don't mind Nashville as a team. I don't like them right now because they're the ones trying to beat our guys up and win, but I haven't seen them being particularly dirty except for McCarron. I don't see them as whiners. I just see them as a good, skilled team that I still hope we pound, but I don't mind them. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. Like, they're playing a style of hockey that I really didn't expect out of them. And thank you, Carol, for the 5 memberships. We really appreciate it. And everyone who received one, make sure you say thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, this to me coming into this series, like, look, yeah, defensively they've got Yossi, but he's again an offensive focused defenseman, right? And Saros is good, but he's again the core of their defense. And the Canucks have so much firepower. I expected these to be, fairly high scoring games, back and forth, action filled. But both of these teams went into this lockdown style that, frankly, has favored one team more than the other, I think. And the Canucks have sort of got away with it. So yeah, it's been a bizarre series. If you said, oh, the Canucks are up 3-1 in the series, 2 weeks ago, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. Like the Canucks should be the better team, but I wouldn't have expected them to have the fewest shots through 4 games through in an opening round playoff series in NHL history.
Right.
Like that doesn't add up to me. Right.
Yeah. This team that was going to look to break PDO records at the start of the season. By the way, Peter, a member for 10 months, Adam gifting another 10. So that's 20. And then Carol matches another 10. That's 15 from her. So we have 35 new members tonight, Parker.
Yeah. You guys are going crazy. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Do all that good stuff. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Adam. And thank you.
All right, Parker, before the puck drops, I know it's an early start, but even before that, we start to hear stories around 11:45 that our second string goaltender is now hurt. So what were you thinking, and where were you when you heard this news?
Yeah, so I'm at home and I have tweet notifications turned on for one man and one man only, and that is Rick Dollywall. And it pops up and it said it was like looks like DeSmith might be hurt or something. And I'm like, are we getting messed with here? Like this doesn't make any sense. And then of course, I jump on Twitter and I'm scrolling everything and there was like the whole Tocchet said like, oh, I might need to make a game time lineup decision. The fact that it was a game time decision is great. Then he says that he was asked point blank, is DeSmith starting tonight? And he would not answer that question. Bad sign.
Very bad sign.
And then, it sort of just slowly leaks out that, it's going to be Artur Shilov's getting the net tonight with Nikita Tolopilo backing up. And basically stranding the Abbotsford Canucks in a do or die game against the Colorado Eagles, which they happened to win with Zach Sawchenko making like 50 saves and allowing 1 goal. So the Canucks are a goalie factory right now. But yeah, it was bizarre. And literally I looked at this and I was like, this is either going to go really bad or really good. Artur Shilov's is proven at in pressure pack games, right? And we saw that at the World Championship last year, getting to the bronze medal game, beating the US in OT, getting named tournament MVP at 22 years old. Like this kid's got it. And he showed that tonight. Like, was he perfect? No, but he's 900 save percentage in his first playoff game after playing 9 NHL games in his career. Pretty gutsy performance from him tonight.
Yeah, you remember he didn't lose in regulation. Like he only played 4 games, but he won 3 in a row, and then he lost that last one against Arizona in extra time. So he technically was undefeated in regulation, and then DeSmith kind of saved himself and saved our confidence in him when he helped backstop the team to that massive win in Edmonton. So I kind of forgot about Shilovs a little bit. Like I knew he was okay. I can't remember if he was amazing in his 4-game run. No, I don't think so. He was solid.
He had bad teams too, right? He had the Ducks and the Coyotes. And...
Great point. But I was, it's funny. And Last Resort brought it up. A really good point. Apparently he knew yesterday he was going to play, but the media and the fans, otherwise you don't want 2 days of complete circus. So they don't You don't even say it flat out. I love what you said about talk like maybe it's a good thing, but he's a bad liar, man. Like you just ask him a question, and as soon as he doesn't answer,
Yeah.
That sounds like me when Gail catches me doing something. Anyways, but that's another story. So yeah, I was okay with it, knowing that at least Shilov had gotten action in the last month of the season. But obviously, it's not ideal because we didn't know the severity of dismissed injury. We still don't know, but we're hopeful, right?
Yeah, it sounds like he'll be back for an option for Game 5 at the very least.
Okay.
By the way, you guys are derailing us with these, but Adam with another membership gift, thank you very much, and Clifford with his 5-month, thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, so this game starts off, and I'm not really concerned about Shilov's. I'm really concerned about the way the Canucks have been playing in this series, right? Like, let's get some offense going. Let's drive some chances. Yeah. Great start, and it's from the line that has been fantastic. And I saw a tweet from, I think it was Money Puck. They tweeted out the essentially most effective lines at 5-on-5 so far in the postseason by expected goals. And the Suter Miller Besser line was number 1 in the playoffs so far.
Beauty.
And for good reason. They've been unreal. They've been the Canucks' best line by far. And they open it up just a couple minutes in. And this one, I'm just trying to get everything to load. This was a gorgeous play. They get an offensive zone draw. Bieksa drew it up better than I could imagine to try. But they get the face-off win. JT Miller jumps over to the right-hand side while Pius Suter goes in front of the net. Miller gets a little bit of open space and draws most of the Predators open, or over to his side. Brock Besser just stays still, stays on the wall, sort of, lurking in the shadows. I see this pass go over, and I'm like, oh my God, just shoot. Like the way these games have gone so far. But he fires it over to Besser. And of course, we get a little bit of interference on the goaltender from the Nashville defender, which is nice, sort of taking Saros out. And Besser just has to hit a wide open net with an arm and a paddle in the way. So he's got 70% of the net to shoot at. And luckily for us, that one gets through. Great start for the Canucks in this one.
Parker, you know what's so funny? Seeing Miller win the faceoff to Susie and then bolt to the other side. It reminds you of any time, whether, I don't know, you remember playing yourself, or if you ever coached or you have friends that have coached. Anytime you coach little kids, soccer, hockey, they don't understand the flow of the game. They don't understand where the puck is, the ball is. They just know that's my spot and I have to get there as soon as I can. Yeah, that's kind of what it reminded me of Miller. He just won the face off and he just beelines it over there, and it turns out to be an awesome play. Yeah, as you said, Chris tic-tac-toe, so good. And,
it worked really well, and Bieksa talked about it really well in the intermission. He said, like, look, these are plays that maybe they work 5% of the time, and I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, well, like 10% of shots go in, so why don't you just win the face off and shoot? But maybe that's just me overthinking, because that play, worked to perfection. Besser gets his second of the playoffs, obviously his first of the game. And then we get some, garbage, frankly, on the officiating front. Philip Forsberg gets called for interference on Tyler Myers, which he sold a little. I think he went down a little bit easy. Forsberg did interfere with him. He shoved him in front of the Canucks net, but Myers toppled down a little bit easy, and there's a long distance for him to travel there, so I think that maybe helps draw the penalty. So that gets called. Canucks line up for the faceoff in the offensive zone. Lindholm sort of wins a scramble draw back, and O'Reilly tries to cut between Lindholm and the linesman. And what you should do as a center is you get a piece, right? If especially on a faceoff that is going backwards, that center is lots of the time going to try to get through you and get to the puck, especially if it's not going back quickly and he thinks he can win the race to it. So your job is to just run a little bit of interference, get in his way, which Lindholm does, and then O'Reilly sort of gets pinned between him and the linesman and falls. And then that's 4 seconds later, just called interference. So all the momentum gone immediately on the 4-second power play. Faceoff comes back into the Canucks zone. And about a minute, 20 seconds later, Nashville gets their first of the game. And this is, it's tough from Quinn Hughes here. I mean, Quinn gets the pass back in the offensive zone, just sort of bobbles over his stick. The ice looked abysmal, I will say, at Bridgestone Arena. Like, there was a lot of bouncing pucks, and that's nothing against Nashville because we know that Rogers Arena's ice is also pretty bad. It hops over his stick. He gets pressured, and he's just sort of slow to it. Elias Pettersson.
Why is he there, Parker? Tell me why he's there.
I don't know. I can't tell you why. He shouldn't be. So Hughes takes his man into the corner. Fine. He's not a threat right now. Like, he made a little button hook. Pettersson must be thinking, Hughes is going to force him to button hook onto the wall, and the split second he does that, I'm going to be there to take the puck.
Okay.
Pettersson's a split second late in that case, right? If you're going to do that and it works, then you are going up ice 2-on-2, maybe 3-on-2 the other way if the defender can get in the rush. But he's late to it, so it comes to the point, and now Pettersson's wing, which is the far point, is now wide open. He gets a pass.
Right, because Mikheyev has to stay with the other point guy, correct, right?
Well, yeah, Mikheyev's job is now both point guys, frankly, and he needs to get a piece of that pass or sort of hover in the middle and wait for Pettersson, but he shouldn't be expected to have to do that. Puck goes over, shot gets tipped through. I think it's a Lozon shot tipped by Mark Jankowski, just sneaks under the arm of Shilov's, and 5.5 minutes in, we're all square.
I've watched that replay so many times, Parker. I'm still not convinced that Jankowski tipped it. To me,
it didn't look like it, but
I think Shilov's, but
for whatever. Shilov's sake, we say it was tipped. The NHL says it was tipped. They haven't changed it yet.
That's true.
He also celebrated as if he tipped it. So I think he did, and it makes our goalie look better. So we'll go with that.
That's true. Okay, we'll take it. And by the way, speaking of looking better, I don't know what's going on, you guys. Lee with 5, Adam with another one, then Adam with another one, and then Carol with another 10. So another 17 membership run there. You guys are amazing tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, everyone in this chat might end up with a membership at some point tonight. So make sure you're in here.
Okay, so we're going to talk, I think, in general terms of who's banged up later, but Hughes did not look right on that play. I hate it. I cringe every time he turns and he doesn't know a guy's going to be there. And there's 2 or 3 times he got smashed by in a sandwich. And then Petey, he's not the fastest guy. So he's not the one guy that you think is going to make it from the corner out to the point, the opposite point. It's just a tough play by both of our superstars. I'm not blaming them for the entire game. Obviously we won, but that was a little rough.
Yeah, that was tough. So it's tied at 1. Frankly, the rest of the first period, pretty even. I think in all metrics, analytically, Predators had 62% of the expected goals, but it was really low. 3 high-danger chances to none in that first period, but shots were 9-8. Scoring chances were 6-4. Like it was pretty square through that first period, and probably other than the third, the best period the Canucks played. Other than the late third, I should say. So going to the intermission, all square at 1. And then the Canucks get into some trouble again. And this one is, Canucks go in on a breakout, they sort of strand the Predators. Like Predators have 3 guys and like one of them's changing. So it's a 4-on-2 that the Canucks come in on. And they find Ian Cole carrying it. Yeah, so they find the trailer, which is Ian Cole, which is always a good play. Passes on the wrong side. He has to take it off his skate, so he doesn't even have possession till he's like in the face-off circle. And he tries to, what he should do here, frankly, I mean, he threw it to the net in hopes for a tip, which kind of worked. Like it was a decent play. His other option is to button hook and just try to get possession in the offensive zone. He throws it at the net. The rebound, the Canucks have 2 guys too close to the net. Rebound bounces back past Garland, and they just sort of send it the other way. And since Cole was the one who pinched, and the Nashville Predators come out quick, while Ian Cole, instead of turning around and skating back, is sort of floating backwards.
Yeah, and he's telling Zadorov, take the pass, and I don't know if he was saying, I will take the shooter or someone's going to take the shooter, but he points to Zadorov and says,
he does.
Stay on the pass.
He does. Which, look, Zadorov is 13 feet tall. If he wants to, he could lie down and block anything. So it's a 2-on-1 for the Predators. They come in on side. Zadorov really commits to the pass to the point where Nyquist just sits there and loads, not even stick handling, from the top of the circle to the hash marks. So a good 10 feet of just loading up. And Ian Cole coasting.
Yeah.
From the blue line in. If he's skating hard and just applying a little bit of pressure to Nyquist, he might not catch him, but he might be able to get a stick close and at least make him shoot a little bit quicker. But he's so focused on taking the trailer, which that trailer is not an option because you're between him and the trailer almost at that point. Nyquist just lets it go and beats him clean. That one was remarkably frustrating.
Yeah. And last resort, we agree. We talk about 2-on-1s on here all the time because the Canucks give up the 2-on-1s all the time. And we agree that you're supposed to take away the pass, let the goalie square up. And it was a great shot by Nyquist. I think our point is not only Cole, but even the 3, maybe they're at the end of a shift, but it's not like Lindholm, Garland, or Joshua were going gangbusters either. It was just kind of weird. I think if one guy just skated like a little bit faster, you would have caught up to not even the trailer, either Nyquist or the guy going to the net. But Porzadorov was kind of like going like slow motion, just waiting. What's going on here?
Yeah, it was an effort play. That's why I was mad, right? Like it's like, what are we doing here? Like this is playoff hockey. Like work hard, get back, like get on your horse. That was really frustrating. So Preds take a 2-1 lead, and then Canucks get a penalty right after. Philip Hronek gets that holding penalty, which again they give up sort of an odd man rush. Hronek comes back and tries to catch Jason Zucker. He sort of puts the hand on the hip, but reaches around and gets puck, like a really good poke check. Frankly, I was sort of of the mind, like playoff hockey, that seemed like a really good play. Like so even if you impede the guy a little bit, but you're able to reach around and knock the puck off his stick, I feel like most of the time that's just like, hey, that's good defense in the NHL. Hronek gets called for a pretty weak hold. Canucks penalty kill has been remarkable all series. It's been their best part of their game, bar none. So their penalty kill went 2 for 2 tonight. It went 4 for 4 in game 2. It went 5 for 5 in game 3. The Canucks penalty kill has been fantastic. And I mean, I think one of those two would be the one of those two is the 4 seconds after the 4-on-4 ended, I guess. So they were sort of 1 for 1 on the PK tonight. But anything else that happened in the second period? There was the Puce Suter breakaway that was terrible.
Was that the one where Miller did such an awesome? Oh no, that's a different one. I'm thinking the one that Miller knocked the puck down, kind of fell into Saros, and from his butt got the puck back to Suter, and the Suter put it off the
bar. Yeah, that was frustrating. Great play by Miller. And then the other one was, Suter did have a breakaway, and he had a guy on his back, and instead of just shooting,
that's right,
he tried to turn around and pass it back, and ended up sparking an odd man rush the other way. That was like, you got to get a shot there or draw a penalty. Like you got to do something with that. Try to be too fine, trying to force things.
Parker, just before we move on to the third, I don't know where we were, but I'm pretty sure it was before Adam like gifted 3 more. And I see in our backs and in our app here over 600 people now. I see 200 on YouTube. Does that mean we have 400 people watching on X right now? That's crazy.
It would have to mean that, I guess, which is great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all for joining in. That's fantastic.
Yeah, awesome. All right, take us through the third.
Into the third. All right. Canucks need down a goal going into the third. I mean, second period they got outplayed pretty bad. Shots were 10-5. Expected goals, frankly, in the second period, the Canucks actually led. Had 4 high danger chances to the Predators 1. So from an actual like generation perspective, Nashville wasn't doing much either. We go to the third period. Preds win the draw. Preds come into the zone. Yossi just sort of plays the puck in front on a rebound.
Yeah.
It hits Philip Forsberg's skate and goes into the wide open net. Now, Brock Besser emphatically waves this off immediately. He's going right to the ref. He's saying, no way, that's no goal. Obviously, the controversy around this one is whether that puck was kicked in or not.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of arguments. Now, the rule book, I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but there has to be obviously a distinct kicking motion, right? You're allowed to, if you lift your skate up, angle it, place it down, and it goes in off that, that's fine. If it's coming towards your skate and as it hits, you turn your skate, that's a redirection. That's fine. To me, a distinct kicking motion means like moving your foot towards the net in a way that you weren't already doing, if that makes sense. Like, obviously, your feet are moving towards the net if you're making like a stopping motion towards the net, right? I think that's fine. But it's when your skates are doing this, you have 2 skates and their blades are going like this, and then you take one of them and you go like that, right? Like, to me, that's like a distinct extra move. That's pretty much exactly what Philip Forsberg did, right? The puck comes through. He's got his right foot out, ready to redirect. And then he does a little one of these with his skates to drive the puck through instead of just redirecting. To me, that's a kick. Especially for me, it's the overhead view that really sells it. There's one view that really doesn't look like it, and the overhead view really does. What was obviously a lot of the firestorm online was, why aren't we challenging this, right? And of course, I'm like, I feel like Taka would absolutely challenge this because he wanted to challenge that goalie interference on Demko, that stick in the glove, but he was told not to by the video coaches. Like, I feel like anything borderline at this point in this game, the way it's been going, he would have pulled the trigger on that. However, that's not a challengeable thing in the NHL rulebook. That has to be initiated by the NHL, and obviously in the situation room, they looked at it, they signed off before the puck was dropped.
Parker, you do me a favor. Can you do, because you're the master, can you put in the poll kicking motion or not? Just yes or no. I just want to see. Let's do a very quick poll. Are you cool with that?
Yep.
Sorry. And I didn't mean to interrupt Parker, but Parker was starting to go down the road of, there's only three. Perfect. There's only three things that a coach can challenge, and that's offside, goalie interference, and a missed stoppage. So kicking motion, as much as, even if you think it was, is not a challengeable. Does that mean, Parker, that the situation room's got to catch that, right? Not.
And I imagine they did, and they looked at it and they said, yep, we're calling it good to go. I think it should have taken some time because it was like a pretty right away. They're like, they looked at it. All right, we're good. I would have it's just bad optics. I think like the NHL should have been like, hey, we're going into an official review. Even if it takes 15 seconds, like be like, hey, the previous play is under review. Look at it, have the ref on the iPad talking to the situation room. Like, hey, that looks like a redirect. We're calling that a good goal. Even if we disagreed with it, it would have looked a lot better than everyone being like, wait, we're not doing anything about this. Like, what's the deal? I don't think it should have been a good goal. 63% of you say kick, or it was a kick, which to me sort of drives home the point of it's kind of inconclusive, right?
Right.
And obviously in the moment it was frustrating, and I thought it was a kick. Looking back on it, I can see how it would be hard to overturn.
Right.
But I really think they should have been like, hey, we are officially reviewing the play, and at least like said something. So I thought that was pretty bizarre.
I hear what you're saying about you definitely saw a bit of a forward motion from that right leg for sure. Is it considered a normal hockey? It doesn't have to be though, because as you've said, and as Viper actually said, Last Resort, it's 100% a kick. But keeping the skate on the ice now means it's okay to the league. Makes sense. The only reason for the kicking rule is to, not so people aren't recklessly bringing their blade up. So, Parker, does that mean the fact that he kept both blades on, even if there was a slight movement in his right leg, because that's why the refs the situation room didn't overturn it?
I guess so, but I feel like someone's gonna test that at some point. Like someone's gonna do one of these. But it's going to be like they're going to bring their leg back all the way and like fully kick it with their blade never leaving the ice.
Right.
And then what? Right? That'll be the real test of the rule. And it's going to be hard to say that that's not a kicking motion. So I think in this case, I get it. But I think going hard and fast on the blade's on the ice, it's fine. I think they're going to run into some weird thing at some point, just because that's just how the NHL works, right? Yeah. Whether it's a parallax angle or a, goal interference, nothing's really set in stone. It's not like this is an NHL only problem. Like no one knows what a catch is in the NFL, at least used to. It's a little more clear now. No one knows what's going to be called for VAR for a card or a penalty or whatever. And like every sport has this. So we're just on the short end of it in this one.
Sure. All right, we should probably get through take us through the two Besser goals.
Yeah, I mean the rest of the third period, the Canucks did nothing. They produced nothing. They had no danger. They frankly looked like they were sitting on their heels and were just waiting to go home. And that's sort of the vibe I had on my couch. It was, well, we're just gonna watch the clock tick until the horn goes, and that's it. Rick Tocchet goes for the aggressive goalie pull. 3 minutes to go, which frankly, normally I don't like very much. If your offense is doing anything in this game, the offense wasn't doing anything. You might as well, because you need to, and you need all the time you can get. I did say pessimistically, the moment the goalie was pulled, I said, Yeah, they're not even going to get past center, I bet. And they're going to turn it over, and Nashville's going to go score.
And you know what we said at our watch party, Parker?
Mm.
Man, Shilov's great speed to the bench. Did you see that?
He was moving. He was moving. He was on his game too. Like he was waving at the bench, like I'm ready. I'm ready. Canucks get a bit of a setup in the offensive zone. Hronek plays it down the wall, comes back to the point to Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes does his classic, he walks the line, opens the hips, gives him some options, right? He can go back to the pass that he just got on the far side. He can go to JT Miller down the left wing. Miller's usually the safe option. He comes in and he always has those three options, as we've always gone over, especially on the power play. He can shoot, he can find the guy in the middle, or he can go down low, or even reverse back to the point. In this case, that point wasn't there because Quinn Hughes was clearly not in a rush to get back to that side. So he goes down low. Elias Lindholm. This is an unbelievable pass from Elias Lindholm. He gets this puck right next to UC Saros. He's got nothing there. He's not even looking across to Brock Besser, but he gets it somehow under the stick of the defender. Brock Besser has the whole net to shoot with, and credit to UC Saros, because if you watch that replay from the net cam, he gets the pad on it, and it ramps up into the net. So that's Besser's, a big one.
Yep, Besser playing with so much confidence right now. And Lindholm, speaking of confidence, Parker, that's the best combined, in terms of hockey time, the best 5 minutes we've seen him play, right? Between that and the overtime goal.
Oh, absolutely. He's been a monster. And then, of course, the Canucks pull the goalie again with about 2 minutes to go. They waited a little bit. This one really made me mad because I'm like, guys, we're out of time. We don't have time. Let's go. And then they sit in their own zone. 8 seconds after they stand still, then Shilov goes to the net. Or to the bench, I should say. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, we could have done that before. Everyone's already on the ice. But the Canucks come into the offensive zone. Pedersen's just trying to create something. He throws it on net from the point, goes into the corner. It's a sort of a battle for it. It gets shot around the boards. Hughes does a really good job to receive this. It sort of bounces off his stick. And Roman Josi, I think is that Nyquist?
What number is it?
I think it's 14, but I can't tell.
Yeah.
Either way, he sees Hughes sort of half fumble this thing, and he says, I am taking this puck, and I'm going to go score on the empty net. But Hughes somehow recollects it, sprays a ton of snow up, and cuts back towards the boards, and leaves that guy just spinning.
It was so good. It was
a great move. Miller is beaver tailing so hard on the far wall. Puck goes back to Pedersen, and you can see Pedersen looks up for the shot. And then barely gets that pass through to Miller, an inch away off the stick. Miller walks in, slap pass towards the middle, somehow through two Predators sticks. One's diving to break the pass up, one's diving to block the shot. Besser gets the tip on it. Great save from Saros. And Besser somehow reacts quick enough to grab this rebound, try to pull it to the backhand, and it's just out of the reach of his heel. So when he tries to slide it on net, it just hits the side of the post. It's not even really side of the net. That is right on the edge of the post.
Mm-hmm.
Goes behind the net. He's got his momentum there. And right when I saw that puck go wide, I just threw my head back. Oh no. Imagine if that went in. And then Besser recollects while Saros is swimming. Nikita Zadorov is posted up at the top of the crease with two Nashville Predators that cannot get by to get their stick on the ice or slide into the net to try to break something up. Besser pulls it back to the forehand and just chips it through just inside the far post for his third of the night with it went in at 7 seconds, but 6 seconds to go. And by some miracle, the Canucks tied that game up.
And I know we're going to get to the overtime goal. By the way, 700 people now combined in here between X and YouTube. 300 on the YouTube side alone, 267. So you did a great job of talking about Besser, Pedersen, Hughes. So Zadorov, you know what's so funny, Parker? You might have heard it on the broadcast. They mentioned, oh, here comes Zadorov. Watch him go to the front of the net. And then when you look at the replay, you have 7 Zadorov, and you have 5 foot Garland right next to each other. It's like twins, Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're in front of the net, and you do great point. Because of Zadorov's size, he actually he prohibits Nashville Predators players from getting to Brock, and Garland's trying so hard not to commit goalie interference. When you watch it, he's over top of Saros, and he's just praying that they're not going to call him on anything. It was so good. It was great.
It was really well drawn up, smart play.
Yeah.
So I remember just jumping out of my seat when that went in. And I didn't know what to do. Like I freaked out. I jumped up. I was so fired up. And then we go to overtime and I just kind of sit there for a couple minutes and I'm watching the intermission panel and I have that those nerves that we haven't had in a long time. Right. And I'm like, this is psychotic. It is a mess. It is fun. Overtime might kill me if this if this goes 2-3 OTs, the way that these teams are playing offensively, it absolutely could. I was very stressed.
It's funny you say that. I shouldn't really joke about this, but my son Sean said the same thing. He actually said he felt like he was gonna have a heart attack, and my son Sean's pretty healthy, but he wasn't exaggerating either. Like he was that nervous.
Yeah, the heart rate was high. It had to have been. So we go into OT. About a minute in, the Lindholm line comes over the boards.
Yeah,
Lindholm cycles it up to the point. Ian Cole, who had a really good game, other than that one gaff, I think. Plays it across to Quinn Hughes. He just throws it towards the net.
Yeah.
It gets steered to the corner, comes back to the point. Ian Cole just shovels it in deep. You then have who's that going to the corner? Is that
Garland?
It's Garland going to the corner.
Yeah.
Joshua. It's Joshua. Joshua goes to the corner.
Garland. You're right.
Has a guy on his back, and Garland immediately gives him the relief valve down behind the goal. Now Ryan O'Reilly is really the person to watch here, right? Philip Forsberg's on the screen, obviously not on our screen here, but his job is the point, so he's fine. O'Reilly went and pressured Cole on the wall. His job is to now get in front to Lindholm, who's sort of sneaking in. That puck goes down low. Garland gets there. And immediately when I saw Garland make that cut and I saw Lindholm in front of the net, I jumped up. Before that puck even got there, I was like, it's there. Like, make the pass. And O'Reilly's just not fast enough to get there. Like, he's just frankly not a quick enough skater.
He's doing his PD impression there.
Yeah. So Garland just backhand pass right onto the tape of Lindholm in the slot. It's a perfect pass. Just knowing where your guys are. For Saros, this is an impossible play. Pucks, any goalie will tell you, the hardest shot to save is a one-timer from behind the net. Like, you just have no way to know where the guys in front of you are because you're looking behind the net at the puck. You don't know that Lindholm's right there, right? You see that puck come out front, and have to square up and get ready for a shot. Lindholm just quickly fires it far side where there's an opening. It goes in a minute into OT. This one's over, and the Canucks somehow completed that comeback.
I hear what you're saying, Parker, about Ryan O'Reilly being on Cole. Is that not on? I'm just asking, is that knowing that they have an extra? No, it's not even an extra man. Sorry, because it's 5-5. If Forsberg sees O'Reilly on Cole, could Forsberg not have tried to catch up to Lindholm? I know he's really far behind.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So O'Reilly takes Cole, and Forsberg does sort of float away. I guess he's expecting Cole to just come straight back, which he sort of does. And then Forsberg realizes that too, right? He does start skating towards the net. But it's obviously way too late, right? Like, it was such a quick bang play. Ian Cole did a really good job to shovel that down. And that doesn't happen if the Canucks don't have two of their best board battlers on the ice, right? Dakota Joshua wins the battle down low. Connor Garland wins the battle down low. Luke Shen took a really bad route here. He's assuming that's going to keep getting cycled around, but he should know Connor Garland's going to spin. And Connor Garland does spin, and he, gets just enough space to find that pass.
Could have plastered him. This line too, as a threesome, they've kind of been quiet the last couple games. They can be the X factor. I actually think, Parker, they will be an X factor going forward as the Canucks hopefully progress. But yeah, a little quiet even after game 2. Talkett said they got to play more north-south and forget this, trying to make plays to the neutral zone. But this was a really nice play. Nice to see all three of them in on it. And we're not going to sit here and make proclamations that we won the trade because of these 5 minutes. But you and I both said, that's fine. You can. You and I both said repeatedly that, Lindholm had an uneven regular season, but this is why we got him, for things like this, winning draws, playing defense, making great passes, actually putting the puck in the net. It was a great game for him.
Yeah, and Natural Stat Trick must not have analyzed the OT because they didn't have that as a high danger chance. They had no high danger chance. That's the most high danger chance of the game.
Pretty high danger. Yeah.
They also had no expected goals though, so clearly that's not correct. That was that was a nerve-wracking game. It was a game that I was resigned to the Canucks losing for most of it, and just sort of thinking, all right, hey, we're going back, tied at 2, at the very worst, we're tied at 2, and Casey DeSmith is probably back for game 5. But Canucks lead 3-1. Canucks have a stranglehold on the series. They have 3 chances now to put this one away. And just the way they've been playing, again, it hasn't been fantastic, but they've been winning the goaltending battle. UC Saros is at 857 this series. The Canucks have been converting on their chances. The PDO emergents are back. And they have won 3 games with 3 different goaltenders.
That's pretty crazy. By the way, I just want to do a very quick catch up. Lucas buys it. He doesn't even wait for someone to buy it. He just buys himself a membership. Welcome, Lucas. Gives a $5 donation. Adam gives more memberships. Scout Zao with a $7 super sticker. By the way, I did quick math. I think Adam has donated 27 memberships tonight.
That's absurd. We have 59 that we've gotten tonight. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you, everyone. But by the way, before we get off this game, because we do got to get off this game, Colton Sissons hits the post with 1.5 minutes left.
Yeah, North Vancouver native, sleeper agent, Colton Sissons. This Barstool Sports article, it might even get us demonetized from just reading it.
Don't bother.
I just searched his name. Okay. Yeah, it's just bad. But what else can you expect? What a crazy hockey game, and a miserable hockey game most of the way. But the fact that they found a way to win it. Game 5 goes Tuesday. I sold my tickets this morning. I could have sold them now for a lot more money, but the entire game I was saying, thank goodness I sold those tickets this morning. Good. So, because
I'll ask you once we get off the stream. What I'm happy for you. Okay, 1 question to set up this game.
Yeah.
No, 2. 1 statement, 1 question. Obviously, both guys are healthy. You go back to DeSmith. Agreed?
Yeah, I think so. Unless he's like 90%, if you say, because again, you got to keep in mind that game's Tuesday. Next game 6 would not go until Friday. Now the Canucks really don't want to make that trip, obviously. That 4-hour flight to Nashville and back. And you want to get the rest, yada yada yada. But Archer Shields was good tonight, frankly. Like 900 save percentage. The 1 goal. There's obviously the tip. That's tough for the goalie. It's stuck under the arm. Nyquist had all the time in the world, and Phil Forsberg kicked the puck in. Right. Frankly, Archer Shilovs was pretty good tonight. Right. If you think DeSmith could really benefit from the extra 2 days of rest, I don't hate going back to Shilovs. Frankly, because if Demko isn't back until round 3 or round 4, or not back at all for the postseason. You need Casey DeSmith to be healthy, right? Like you cannot risk aggravating that injury, especially when you have 3 chances to win. And that's why Shilov's got the start tonight, frankly, right? Like Rick Tocchet said, hey, we could have probably gone with DeSmith, and they had him as the e-bug tonight. But they said, obviously having the lead in the series makes this game a little bit more losable for the Canucks, right? If it was a tied series, or if they were down 2-1 in the series, I think DeSmith plays today.
That's fair.
But they said, hey, we can afford to let him rest. And if they think that would go the same way on Tuesday, I wouldn't hate that decision.
Okay, that's fair. And last question to you, and then we'll get to the people, I think. Are Petey and/or Hughes injured?
I think they gotta be, especially Hughes. It's just because we've seen him blow so many edges, and just get caught. He's getting hit. Obviously, in the first period, he took that sort of sandwich hit and sat for a few minutes. He missed a few shifts. That's not a good sign. However, everyone's playing through something, and Hughes elevated when he needed to, right? I mean, I don't know if you saw, if you rewatched that highlight of the obviously of the final Besser goal, when he makes that sidestep on the wall and makes that really nice play. By the time Besser scores, everyone is skating right over to Brock Besser as fast as they can. And Quinn Hughes, I don't think ever makes it to that scrum.
Wow.
Like, he is skating. Now, keep in mind, I think he played 2 or 3 straight minutes at the end of that game. So maybe he was just absolutely bagged, but he really took his time. He did make it to the scrum, but he got there like 4 seconds later than everybody else. So he's he's either exhausted or, he's battling something. I
Right.
think he's got to be. He doesn't look like he's got that agility that he normally does. He's still obviously very agile, but he looks like he might just be missing a little bit there.
Okay, how about Petey?
I don't know, man. It could so very well be mental.
Yeah.
But like at this point, he's just got to figure it out. Like at some point, it's it just something needs to work.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in his head. He had some moments tonight that I thought he played okay, but that's not what he's there for, right? He's there. He should be. He should have the ability to take over these games. We're 4 games into the series, and he's frankly been invisible for the most part. So. And look, nothing against the guy. Obviously, we need him to succeed. We sort of talked about like, the Canucks can win round 1 without Thatcher Demko. And it seems like they might be able to win round 1 without Thatcher Demko and mostly without Elias Pettersson.
Yeah.
I don't think they're beating Edmonton without both of those guys. They can probably get away without one, probably not both. Again, the Canucks won't be favorites against Edmonton, obviously, but like, they'll have like a decent chance with Pettersson playing as Pettersson, especially because I think that'll be a much more open series if we get there. But yeah, we just need more.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. 50 minutes down. We didn't have to reference, well, you referenced it quickly, but we didn't have to go through game 2 and game 3, even though those happened this week since our last show. But why would we talk about those when we can talk about tonight's game for 45 minutes and have 800 people in here, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah. And look, that game 3, I went to that watch party at the rink. That was very well done. It was very fun. And I think it was louder than Bridgestone Arena was that night, is what I had heard at least. So, the Canucks fans showed up. It was a great atmosphere.
Good.
And by the way, I did want to mention the Oilers did hang on and win 1-0. So they have a 3-1 stranglehold on that series. And the real, bearing the lead here. Do you know what the shots were in that game?
No, I haven't looked it up. So the way you said it, I'm going to guess 40-20.
Yeah. LA had 33.
Yeah.
Edmonton had 13.
Well, awesome.
So
Great.
Edmonton basically pulled a Canucks game 3. It's almost like 1-for-1. Stuart Skinner with a 1-0 shutout on 33 shots, which is bizarre. So the Oilers are a game away as well.
All right, I'm going to ask you, I'll give my prediction, then I'll ask for yours, and then we'll go to the people for the last 10 minutes. I think Canucks win on Tuesday. Do you?
I do. I think they really don't want to take another flight back and forth.
I wouldn't.
Like, I think that's going to be a real motivating factor for them to really come out and take it to them. I think both teams are tired and they're going to get no rest, basically, right? I'm sure they fly either in the morning or they flew out today. Actually, I imagine if the 2 p.m. game was done by like 5:30 with overtime, I imagine they flew home tonight.
Yeah, game 3 hours. Yeah, for sure.
And you probably wouldn't get you'd land in Vancouver maybe at 10:30, 11.
Yeah,
that's pretty reasonable. Get back to your own bed, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I think they do. I'm sad I won't be there, but it should be. If they can pull that one off, and I think, do LA Edmonton play Tuesday as well? They play Wednesday. So that's hey, if the Canucks win on Tuesday, that gives them an extra day of rest against whatever opponent, but it also means, hey, you get probably a week of rest, I would imagine, or maybe like 5-6 days of rest. And I think that could be very beneficial at this point.
Right. Edmund, thank you. We addressed this. We both said that if DeSmith is 100% healthy, you go to him. He's still the better goaltender.
Yep.
But if he's at all dinged up and you're comfortable with Shilovs, get DeSmith that extra rest. And you can still obviously win with Shilovs. But all things being equal, we both said DeSmith if he's healthy. Yeah.
This is a really interesting question from Last Resort. He says, has Rick Tocchet been outcoached so far this series? The complete lack of shots has to be a systems issue because we're not much less talented than the Preds, and we're not less talented than the Preds, frankly. And then there's obviously the groin injury rumor. I just want to focus on this out-coaching thing because I had this thought in the third period, and I'm sitting there watching, and that was my tweet, or my tweet was sort of alluding to that. Let me see if I have my exact quote here. I said... Oh, I lost it. I'm just confused. Is Nashville the best defensive team of all time or something? Right. That was my sort of main thing. It was like, is Brunette just that good of a coach that the Canucks are like, is Rick Tocchet just getting out coached? And Rick Tocchet's always been a fantastic coach for us this whole way, but like the way the Canucks have looked has been really uninspired.
Okay. Has he been out coached? I was singing Andrew Burnett's Bruno, as they call him, his praises earlier. Out coach. I did like after game 2. Do you remember this, Parker? I did like how Rick Tocchet kind of hinted that there's a couple ways that they can kind of navigate Nashville collapsing the middle. And then we saw that on game 3. They were trying to flare a guy out to either side, right? And at least instead of going up the middle, they're at least moving to each side and creating some more across as opposed to just going straight. Out coach. I'm not being defensive. I don't know. I wouldn't say he's winning the coaching battle, but I would never thought he was out coached. I just think Nashville is just a stingy team that we don't get to see a lot. But
yeah, I think it might just be a bad matchup. Frankly, right? Like like if the Canucks play this way against Edmonton in round 2, again, jumping the gun. But if they were to face off against Edmonton in round 2, if the Canucks are playing like this, if they're getting 12 shots a game, they are going to get run out of every building, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just a matchup issue and the Canucks go up against Edmonton and it's much more high flying, 4-3 type of deal, the Canucks can hang in those situations a little bit better. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just a bad matchup or if Nashville, Burnett's just got the perfect system to shut us down or what it is. But if the Canucks can scrape through this series looking not great, I'll take it. And let's just start fresh in round 2.
Japan 4 welcome says it's totally a bad matchup. Nashville has adapted to our game style, and that would be a nod to their coaching.
And that's an out coaching, right? Like at that point, hey, you have to adapt back, right? So that's that's again nothing against Tocchet, and I think he's obviously done wonders for this team. And the Canucks have won 3 of these games. So again, I am so much more results over process at this point.
Yeah,
I just want to make it through, make it to round 2, and then we can reset.
Exactly. Edmund, he was wearing it before it happened, the hat tricks, but after goal 1, I think.
But I did throw it back there because I thought it deserved to be there.
Of course.
Yeah.
The only thing I have back there is my playoff towel. I'm afraid that it's going to fall off. The monitor's going to fall off my desk, but that's okay. All right, guys, we got about, we'll do another 7 or 8 minutes of your questions. Just start putting them in the stream as fast as you were putting in donations, and we'll get to a few. If the Canucks face Edmonton, then what? Well, this is gonna be an awesome series, but both teams got to finish off their respective series first. But I think at least this is the way it looks like we are heading, and I'm all for it. Again, jumping the gun, but in an Edmonton series, I would really think the Canucks' edge would have been goaltending.
That's maybe not there right now without Demko, because I would have looked at me like, okay, McDavid and Draisaitl can take over games. But when they are off the ice, I think, like the Garland line is going to be really effective. Yeah. But then that X factor was going to be, hey, maybe McDavid and Draisaitl just can't score because Thatcher Demko's unreal. But if he's not there, that concerns me quite a bit more.
Sure. I really like this question from Tubes, and I'll just summarize it for you. Rank those 3 guys, Myers, Zadorov, and Hronek right now.
Zadorov has to be the favorite, I think. Yeah. I think he had a couple mistakes tonight, but he's built for playoffs. Did you see in that scrum he got asked, like, do you think you're built for playoffs, for playoff hockey? And he responded like, do I look like I'm built for playoff hockey? It's like, yeah, you do. He's like that hit on Yossi last game. Like he's a playoff player. Right. Look, Myers has been really good too in the playoffs, surprisingly. I think he's been a lot more dialed in, playing well. Hronek has bugged me at times. I think he's a good partner for Quinn Hughes. The second half of the season, Hronek fell off by quite a bit. And I think you're going to have to pay him more than either of those guys. So it'll be really interesting to see how that shakes out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I heard that DeSmith's injury is lower body. Did you see that?
Yeah, it's not concussion. If it was concussion, they wouldn't have been able to maybe he plays this game. He'd have to go through the whole protocol. Lower body seems to be the consensus and not related to the AJ, or is it Michael McCarron, AJ McCarron, Connor McCarron? I don't know. McCarron. It wasn't related. It wasn't related to his hit in theory. But yeah, DeSmith finished that game. He played he participated in the entire practice yesterday. So whatever it is, it's got to be fairly minor.
Rome says, is secondary scoring a problem in your opinion? Well, yes. In game 3, it was all the big guns. It was Besser, Pedersen, Miller, and Hughes had all of our points.
And
Today,
same in game 4.
Yeah, it's Besser, Miller, Pedersen did have an assist, and then of course Lindholm, Garland, and Joshua.
It's not a concern to me. I mean, your big guns should be the ones scoring most of the time. The problem is they just have a few guys playing in spots that they need guys to finish that can't finish.
Yeah.
Ilya Mikheyev, Pius Suter.
Yep.
Pius Suter's been playing great. Needs to be able to put the puck in the net sometimes, though. Same with Ilya Mikheyev.
Where's Hoglander been?
Yeah, I don't know. He's had a couple decent plays on the wall. But yeah, he's been struggling. I wonder how much ice time is he getting?
As you looked that up, Coach Tocchet said
10.5 minutes tonight.
Okay. Coach Tocchet did say prior to today's game that he needs to play closer to the play, like stay more connected to his line mates. So yeah, because obviously the Miller Besser line doing the heavy lifting today. If we call Lindholm, Garland, and Joshua secondary scoring, then no, I agree with you. I'm not worried at all. Like we can't count on goals from Lafferty, Blucher, and PDG or Podkolzin if he gets in. So if you consider the third line secondary scoring, then I'm not worried. But yeah, you're exactly right. We need 3 of our top 6 guys, or even PD. But yeah, we want more from Suter, Mikheyev, and Hoglander as well. So it's really Miller and Besser that are doing it right now.
Yeah.
What else do you see?
People asking about are the Canucks in the air? Like, what's their sort of schedule? I don't know, frankly. Apparently the flight was in the air. Yeah, they are landing in 30 minutes. What
kind of website are you on?
They landed 11:31. I got their flight number. Air Canada 7038.
How'd you get that?
The internet.
Oh, they don't have their own.
They always are Air Canada 7037 and 7038 apparently. So you can just look it up. And that flight left Nashville at 8:53 Nashville time, and they will land in 30 minutes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna cancel my show. I'm just gonna go hang out at the airport. I think. No, they have their own private thing, right?
Yeah, they'll land and they'll walk off the plane and they'll get shuttled out of there. I'm sure.
And I'm sure they don't want to see some creepy 49-year-old guy waiting for them at the airport.
Yeah, probably not.
Although I was here when John Tortorella, it was the rumors, they hadn't even announced that Tortorella was going to be our coach back in 2014. And I just happened to be at the airport. And then I saw this big crowd and there was Torts coming in. And sure enough, he had a press conference later that afternoon. It was pretty cool.
That's great.
He didn't yell at me either. So that was a good start to the
nice.
relationship.
That's nice. I'm surprised this flight didn't go to Point Roberts.
Yes. Luge is asking, guess which team sets the NHL record for most shots in a Stanley Cup final and in the same final set the record for fewest goals scored? Luge, I have no clue.
Sounds like it's going to be our problem.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, on a more positive note.
Yeah, Boston, right? We got shut out 3 times. 4-0. Yeah, okay. Luge, give it to us.
Yeah. All right. Any other ones that we want to take here? I guess quick around the league. The Leafs are falling apart, and I will always cheer that on, even if it's against Boston.
Yeah, fighting with each other on the bench.
Oh, that was hilarious. Nylander just giving it to Marner, eh? So that was great. Obviously the Capitals got swept, which I think we all saw coming. Wait, what did I write down? I said 5. Either way. Carolina's all over the Islanders. I mean, they got the one back yesterday. Florida's all over Tampa. There's no 2-2 series. All 3-1, the 1-4-0, and then we'll see what Dallas and Vegas do tomorrow. Any
by the way,
you've got your eye on?
Yeah, the Winnipeg Colorado one. I wish it was closer.
Yeah.
I wish it was 2-2. That's, and I'm gonna be
what happened to Hellebuck, man?
I don't know.
It's been bad.
I fly down to Denver on Thursday for my graduation ceremony after 5 years. Thank you. And It's game 6 if it gets to game 6. But I fly in too late. I almost looked at changing my flight, but Parker, I don't know if I can justify telling Gail to just Uber back to the hotel and meet you there after the game.
That's tough. That's tough. And the flight change fees can add up pretty quick.
Yes. No, but that's the one series I was hopeful for because I loved both of those. No, I like both of those teams, and I thought it was going to be a really offensive showdown, or at least Colorado's offense versus Hellebuyck, and then Winnipeg's not so good offense, but at least they're playing against Georgiev, and I can't believe how good Colorado's been, aside from that first game.
Yeah, I can't believe that Hellebuyck is allowing he's like an 850 or something this series, which is crazy to me with how good he is.
Yeah. I'm with you. All right, this has been so we have some numbers in the background, you guys. 850 people tonight. Over 300 on YouTube and over 500 on X between our two combined accounts. So thanks everyone this is a big stream. People are in a good mood, Parker.
Stream. Thank you all for joining. The next one will probably be next Monday, but it's going to be weird with how the series shake out. So we're going to play it by ear. If you want to stay up to date, make sure you're following both of us on Twitter. Those of you who are watching on Twitter, which is about 2/3 of you, make sure you're following each of us, ParkersPucks, Canuck Clay. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. I posted on the community tab today that we would be live tonight, and so I'm sure a good chunk of you saw that, and that's why you're here. You can also turn on notifications, and you'll see when we're live. If you missed any part of the show, you can rewind back to the beginning here on YouTube. You can find it on your favorite podcast platform in about 15-20 minutes or so. This was fun. Clay, any parting words tonight?
Well, I'm going to game 5 because I wasn't smart enough to sell my ticket, so I will represent both of us.
I wasn't smart to sell my tickets. I would love to be there. I'm out of town.
Oh, that's right. Super. Yeah, so I will represent Canucks After Dark at the game, and for everything we talked about, I would love to see them wrap up at home and save themselves that cross-continent flight.
Yeah, that would be absolutely enormous. Thank you all for joining. 60 new members on the YouTube side tonight. So thank you all, those who gifted a bunch. Carol, and it was Adam, right? I got that right.
Adam, Carol, Lee did a bunch. Everyone was great.
Yeah, so thank you all very much. We will be back next time. I'm still just shell-shocked by that win. They shouldn't have won that game, but I'm so happy they did.
Me too.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. We will see you next time.